Good morning, awesome people. Welcome to Kisumu Kayatek, friends. We are in the western part of Kenya. It's bright and early, the air is crisp, and we're just loving our time in the village. If you're joining us for the first time, this is Wonodede. I always film from our village, Hacienda. And as you can tell, life could not be any more wonderful now that we're back on site, friends. So this morning, I just want to share with you a story that is kind of drawing controversy amongst different folks who are listening to it. So apparently, this young woman who lives in America has just deported her own husband. Sounds a little odd because typically you would not expect that, but yes, this young woman is responsible for the deportation of her own husband. And people are saying different things. So depending on how you perceive the experience, some are supporting her, others are like, no, you're not supposed to do this. So I'm going to share with you the story, and I'd like to hear your thoughts about what you think should have happened or should have not happened. So anyway, before we unpack all of that, make sure you subscribe. If you enjoy our content, we always film from this side of town. Sometimes I'm in Long Beach, California. But now we are back on site, just enjoying the village life. If you're new to our channel, I talk about all things that impact people who want to live in Africa. I'm especially excited about life in the village. As you can tell, where I'm right now is deep in the village, and we're just trying to live a very low-key life, no noise. The only thing you'll hear, for the most part, are just birds. I don't know if you can hear them because I've already moved inside. But yeah, this is the kind of life that we desire. So if you need help with finding property in the village, with building, with the architects and all that stuff, my number is right here. Just reach out. I'm happy to connect you with people who obviously know way more than I do. And in the meantime, if you have not subscribed, if you enjoy our content, make sure you hit the subscribe button, because we're going to get to 100K subscribers by the end of the year. So you got to make it happen. So anyway, folks, back to the story. So from what I have learned is that this young woman is a nurse. Has done fairly well in terms of career progression, went to school. She was born and raised in Africa, moved to the US. And like most nurses I know, a lot of people that left Kenya were in other careers. And then they moved to the US and switched. So she had I think she was a teacher or something like that. Got to the US, then went through the whole process with CNA, LVA, and whatnot. And now she's a nurse with a bachelor's degree. Now, I would say nursing is relatively stable. It can pay well depending on what you do. Because sometimes people assume that all nurses make a lot of money. That may or may not be true, depending on what you do. But a nurse that works in some of these states that don't pay too well and does just a 3-day shift, it's not a lot of money. Most nurses I know that make decent incomes often have to work extra. But nonetheless, this young woman that we will call Anyango, and not her real name, has of course done well. She works very well. And then, of course, as is true with many young women I know in my world, she's in her late 30s, almost hitting 40s, and no prospect yet of a man. And some people desire to have partners, others don't. So that's why I say don't judge people. There are people who don't care less to be married or to have partners, which is totally fine. But this young woman I'm talking about obviously had the desire to partner up with somebody and at least start a family. And that didn't seem to be panning out in the US. As I've said in my past videos, for some reason, single eligible men who have their heads in the right place are far fewer than single eligible women who also have their heads in the right place. So that ratio, for some reason, doesn't work too well. So, of course, this young woman I'm talking about is looking at whatever clock they're looking at. And she's like, this is not happening. So she travels back to Africa, meets a man who just sweeps her off her feet. And I promise you, some men that you'll run into here are exceptionally smooth. So they end up having a great time when she's here for holidays. And of course, when you're here, you're only here for a couple of weeks and then you're gone. So for the time she was in Africa, they had a fantastic time. This guy treated her so well, took her to their home. Everybody welcomed her. Within like a month or so, they had a really intense connection. So, of course, she goes back to the US and she's over the moon thinking about now, how do we make this happen? How do I bring this guy? And sometimes it takes a little bit of time for the paperwork to happen. And I think they did the fiancé visa, the K something, I think it's a K1 visa, something like that. So she did that, filed paperwork, went through the whole deal, and brought the guy. And of course, things are still hitting right. The guy arrives in the US, and according to her, the guy comes in, he cleans, he cooks, he's just like over the top. And she's thinking, okay, well, I think I hit the jackpot. Now, I'm not sharing this story to scare those of you who will come to get men outside Kenya. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And so don't take this story to apply broadly across people who you will meet in Africa. I've seen a few cases where young women leave America, come and find some decent young men, and life happens. But I've also seen countless stories where it does not happen. So please, this is not representative of everything else that happens. So, of course, the first couple of weeks, things are wonderful. And based on what I've been told, when you bring somebody on a K1 visa, you have to marry them within, like, is it 60 to 90 days, something like that. So, of course, they go to like the court system, they get married, and then she files paperwork and everything is on. Now, right before their interview, I don't know how the process works, but I know there's an interview that she is required to go with the husband to go and just verify that this is a legitimate marriage, there's nothing to it, and then the green card is issued. So one time she comes back from home, and I think she came at a time he was not expecting her. And then she opens the door, walks in, and he's on the phone. And for some reason, he did not hear her walk in. He's on the phone talking, and in a deep conversation in the bedroom, she walks in, changes, she overhears a conversation. Apparently, this husband, her current husband that he just married, was on the phone with another young woman. And they're speaking in their mother tongue. And by the way, these two people come from different communities. The husband and the wife from two different communities. So that means their mother tongues were different. What the husband did not know, that this young woman could actually understand the husband's mother tongue. So the husband is on the phone talking to a young woman in Africa in their mother tongue. And they're in a deep conversation talking about how things have been wonderful. He's moved in, everything is hitting right, the plan is as scheduled. Apparently, this young man who has could marry this nurse has a wife and kids, and he's on the phone with his wife explaining how this is going to be good. Once everything lines up, he gets his papers, he's going to divorce this woman and go back to Africa and bring his wife and kids. So this nurse is listening to the story, and then he, for whatever reason, I'm just surprised how calm she was about the whole thing. She didn't even react, just heard the whole story and pretended nothing happened. Of course, the guy gets off the phone, comes, and of course, kisses, welcomes her and all that. She's not showing any signs that she's heard anything. Well, in that moment, she's literally dying inside. Unfortunately for her, she had found one of these young men who actually have families. But I've been told there's this phenomenon where some of them actually make arrangements with their own wives to meet diaspora women and do whatever they need to do. Once they're done, they go bring up their women. And so this nurse, after hearing all of this, just pretends she's not heard anything and then just moves on life like nothing happened. And remember, this actually happened before the green card interview occurred. So they get the date booked, they're supposed to go for an interview, and everything is okay. So a week before the interview, she calls the immigration office. She cancels, she withdraws her petition because remember, she's the one who is sponsoring this young man. Cancel all that, but they did not cancel the interview. And then she reported to immigration that this young man is actually married, this is a fraudulent marriage and all that other stuff. So on the interview day, everybody is dressed, everything seems perfect, and they're all same car, they're moving, and then they get to the immigration office, they're waiting to be interviewed. The guy is upbeat because he knows this is probably one of the last steps and he's home free. The young woman is just chilling, waiting for the guy. So then the door opens. Instead of the interviewer, three very large immigration guys come in and they pick up the guy, they handcuff him. They're like, so then the guy is confused, like, what's going on? And then he looks at the wife. The wife is just chilling, like, she's not even surprised. It's like, what's going on? It's like, no, sir, can you come with us? And that's when they tell him that, hey, this is what is going on, and you are being deported. So then they grab the guy, they take him over there, then the young woman just smiles and walks away, goes home. The guy, as we speak right now, is in detention, is scheduled to be deported. So, of course, everybody from home in Africa is calling this young woman. Some of them are begging, some of them are saying all kinds of things like, you can forgive. Or even this guy's wife is reaching out to the nurse, just begging and asking her to just help her husband and all that stuff. She's like, nope, you thought you were smart. But yeah. So that's what's going on. So that young man is going to be deported and may never come back to the US. Do you think that was an appropriate point? Could she have just told him earlier? If it was you, is that what you'd have done? So anyway, friends, that is the story I have for you for this morning. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.